God's favor has a rhythm that no human can predict and no system can calculate. It doesn't follow calendars, logic, or qualifications. It follows divine timing. When your plans have failed and your energy has run out, that's when heaven steps in. Because God's favor doesn't show up when you feel strong. It shows up when you're weak enough to rely completely on Him. When your hands can no longer build and your strategies stop working, God whispers, "Now it's my turn." And when He moves, He doesn't do small things, He does sudden things. You may be living in what feels like your lowest chapter, but that's exactly where His glory is about to break forth. Favor comes quietly at first. It doesn't knock with noise, it slips in with purpose. Suddenly, doors that were sealed for years start to open without explanation. People who once ignored you start remembering your name. Opportunities that were out of reach begin to find you. That's how divine favor operates. It's not earned, it's appointed. You can't chase it. It finds you when you've reached the end of yourself. God allows you to walk through seasons of struggle, not to destroy you, but to set the stage for His power. He lets others get ahead so that when He moves in your life, no one can deny it was Him. Sometimes you will think God has forgotten you. You'll pray, you'll work, and nothing will change. But in the unseen, God is orchestrating details that you can't yet comprehend. He's aligning people, preparing environments, softening hearts, and positioning you for visibility. Favor doesn't arrive late. It arrives perfect, and when it does, it changes everything overnight. One encounter can shift your story. One divine connection can open 10 new doors. One yes from heaven can cancel years of rejection. God's favor is not random, it's revelation. His way of saying, "I haven't forgotten my promise concerning you." You may not see it, but God has been building a table in your wilderness. He's been designing blessings that fit your obedience. He's been setting you up for a miracle that can't be explained by logic. When His favor arrives, it silences your critics, confuses your enemies, and overwhelms your doubts. It doesn't come with warning because it's meant to surprise you. God loves to shock His children with sudden breakthroughs. He loves to show up in moments that look impossible so that everyone knows it wasn't luck, it was the Lord. So don't despise the waiting season. It's the birthplace of favor. Every tear, every prayer, every disappointment is a seed in the soil of destiny. God never wastes pain. He converts it into power. You may not see anything happening, but the roots of your breakthrough are growing deep beneath the surface. When it finally breaks through, it will be unstoppable. God's favor doesn't trickle at floods. It won't just touch one area of your life. It will overflow into every area that's been barren. When God's favor finds you, it changes your reputation, your relationships, your resources, and your reality. You won't have to chase what's yours. It will chase you. What once resisted, you will begin to recognize you. That's why you must keep believing even when nothing seems to move, because the silence of heaven is not rejection, it's preparation. God is arranging a divine surprise that will make up for all the years of waiting. You're not behind, you're being built, and when His favor shows up, it won't just bless you. It will shock you, elevate you, and remind everyone that no one can block what God has already approved. Every great move of God begins in a hidden season. Before the applause, before the opportunity, before the open doors, there's always a quiet place where God shapes your character and strengthens your faith. The season of obscurity is not punishment, it's preparation. When no one is calling your name and when your efforts go unseen, heaven is still watching. God hides you not because you're unworthy, but because you're not yet ready to carry the weight of what He's preparing to give you. You see, visibility without maturity destroys destiny. So in His mercy, God conceals you until the right time, when your spirit can handle the magnitude of His favor. In that hidden season, it's easy to feel forgotten. You look around and see others being promoted, celebrated, and blessed, while you seem stuck in silence. But you must understand, what looks like isolation is actually incubation. God is developing the unseen parts of your life: patience, humility, discipline, endurance, and spiritual strength. He's teaching you to depend on Him when there's no crowd to cheer you on, when there's no platform, and when no one is watching. It's in those private moments that God tests your faithfulness, because if you can serve Him in silence, He can trust you with success in the spotlight. Every delay has a divine purpose. The things you think are working against you are actually working for you. God knows exactly when to reveal you. He's not late, He's strategic. Just like David was anointed king but sent back to the fields, you too might feel anointed but overlooked. But the field is where God trains kings. It's where you learn obedience, humility, and focus. If you can stay faithful in the fields, you'll be ready for the throne. The process is painful, but it's proof that God's hand is on your life. When He finally brings you into the open, you'll be equipped to handle the weight of His favor without pride, fear, or compromise. God's hidden seasons are holy. They strip away your need for validation and teach you to find identity in Him alone. In the silence, your confidence shifts from people to purpose, from applause to assignment. You begin to realize that favor without foundation cannot last. So while you feel unseen, God is fortifying your spirit. He's removing distractions, exposing weaknesses, and building your inner strength so you won't crumble when the blessings come. The greater the destiny, the deeper the preparation. That's why your waiting has been so long, because what's coming is so big. When God finally reveals you, there will be no doubt that it was His doing. The same people who ignored you will have to acknowledge you. The doors that stayed closed will swing open, not because you forced them, but because God Himself turned the key. Every sleepless night, every moment of loneliness, every season of frustration will suddenly make sense. You'll realize that God wasn't punishing you. He was protecting you from premature exposure. Some blessings, if released too early, would have crushed you. But now, after being refined by hiddenness, you're ready to carry what's been promised. So if you're in a season where no one sees your value, stay faithful. Keep praying, keep serving, keep believing. The hidden season is where heaven writes your story. And when it's time for your reveal, God won't need to announce you. Your favor will. The same God who kept you hidden will now elevate you publicly. The people who overlooked you will see His glory on you. Remember, God's delay is not His denial. He hides you only because what He's building in you is far too great to be rushed. Your silence now is the seed of your future celebration. Stay patient. Your season of hidden preparation is about to birth a public demonstration of divine favor. When God's favor comes upon your life, every limitation loses its power. His favor does not consult your past, your qualifications, or your social status. It overrides them. When God decides to bless you, nothing in the natural realm can stop what's been decreed in the spiritual. His favor defies logic. It breaks rules, crosses boundaries, and silences critics. People may have counted you out, but God never did. He was waiting for the perfect moment to show that His power is not limited by human approval. You may not have the connections, the education, or the experience, but when His favor touches you, it will place you in positions others have trained for years to reach. You see, divine favor doesn't make sense. It makes miracles. When God favors you, He will open doors that were nailed shut. He will cause systems to bend in your direction. He will take what others call impossible and make it inevitable. Remember Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned unfairly, forgotten by men. But when God's favor found him, one moment turned his story around. Overnight, the prisoner became the prime minister. That's how quickly favor moved. It doesn't ask permission, it gives promotion. You might be in a place right now where it looks like everything is stacked against you, but favor is about to flip the script. When God's favor overrides your limitations, your weakness becomes His weapon. Your story becomes your strength. The very things that disqualified you in the eyes of people become the very reasons God chooses you, because He wants the world to see that it was never about your ability. It was always about His anointing. God's favor will make you stand where you don't belong, sit where you never applied, and lead in places you were once rejected from. He uses your insufficiency as a stage for His sovereignty. When you walk in divine favor, opposition becomes confirmation. Every obstacle that rises against you is proof that something powerful is on the way. The enemy doesn't attack those going nowhere. He only fights those carrying destiny. That's why you've faced so many closed doors, betrayals, and disappointments. God allowed them not to break you, but to position you. Because when His favor arrives, you won't need anyone's approval to move forward. He will bypass those who tried to block you and prepare a table for you in their presence. Don't be discouraged by what seems to be working against you. Every delay, every rejection, every no is simply clearing the way for God's yes. When His favor speaks, no one can silence it. When His hand moves, no man can stop it. What took others years will happen for you in moments, because God's timing is not like man's timing. His favor operates in acceleration. It restores wasted years and redeems lost opportunities. You don't have to chase it. It will find you when your heart is aligned with His purpose. The truth is, divine favor isn't earned, it's appointed. It's God saying, I've chosen you to be a vessel of my glory. And when you carry that kind of favor, life shifts. People begin to notice something different about you. They can't explain it, but they can't ignore it either. That's the glow of grace, the light of divine approval. You won't need to promote yourself. God Himself will highlight you. So, if you feel limited, remember this: your limitation is where God's favor loves to work. You may not be qualified, but you're chosen. You may not have the resources, but you have the source. When He breathes on your life, your lack becomes abundance, your failure becomes testimony, and your struggle becomes the story of His strength. God's favor will take you further than your talent ever could. It's not about who you are, it's about whose you are. And when you belong to God, no limitation can limit the limitless. When God is about to shock you with His favor, He will first separate you from certain people, places, and habits that can't handle where He's taking you. This separation is not rejection, it's divine redirection. You might feel lonely, abandoned, or misunderstood during this season, but that's because God is making room for the new. He's pruning your life, cutting away what no longer serves your destiny. The truth is, not everyone can go where you're going. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. Their season in your life has expired, and holding on to them would delay your breakthrough. When God's hand is on your life, isolation becomes a tool of elevation. What feels like loss is actually preparation. Sometimes the greatest favor God gives you is disconnection. He removes people who distract you from purpose, conversations that feed your fear, and environments that suffocate your faith. It's easy to mistake this divine silence for punishment, but in reality, it's promotion in disguise. God is pulling you away from noise so you can hear His voice more clearly. He's teaching you to depend on Him, not on validation, not on relationships, not on applause. When you stop clinging to what's familiar, you make space for the supernatural. The very separation that hurts you now will later reveal itself as the reason you rise. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his father's house, his country, and his comfort zone before showing him the promise. That's how divine favor works. It calls you out of what's common into what's chosen. It demands faith, not familiarity. The people who once fit your journey might not fit your next level, not because they're bad, but because they're not built for the weight of your calling. You can't carry everyone into your breakthrough. Some people can celebrate your growth only as long as it doesn't outgrow them. But when you're destined for greatness, you must be willing to walk alone for a season. This separation also happens internally. God will separate you from the version of yourself that settled for less. He will strip away your comfort zones, your excuses, and your small thinking. You might feel like everything around you is falling apart, but what's really happening is that everything unnecessary is falling off. God is detoxing your destiny. He's removing pride, fear, insecurity, and dependence on people's approval. Because when His favor arrives, you can't carry the baggage of your old mindset into your new miracle. So if you're in a season where it feels like everyone is walking away, where doors are closing, where familiar paths no longer work, don't panic. Heaven is editing your life. God is preparing you for rooms you've never entered, opportunities you didn't even apply for, and blessings you didn't see coming. You might be crying now, but those tears are watering the soil of transformation. This is not the end, it's the cleansing before the elevation. When God separates you, it's not because you're forgotten. It's because you're being chosen for something higher. He's setting you apart so that when His favor bursts forth, no one else can take credit for it. The loneliness, the silence, the stillness, they're all indicators that heaven is at work. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. So don't chase who left, don't beg for what's closing. Stand still, because the same God who separated you is about to showcase you. When He's done, you'll realize that every goodbye was guiding you toward your greatest hello. When God is about to shock you with His favor, He will test your faith in ways that seem almost unbearable. He will stretch you to the edge of your patience, push you beyond the limits of your comfort, and challenge you to believe when everything around you screams, "Give up." This isn't punishment, it's preparation. God will never place a crown on a head that hasn't learned how to bow in surrender. He tests your faith not to see you fail, but to strengthen what's fragile inside you. The waiting, the silence, the uncertainty, these are not signs that God has forgotten you. They're proof that He's trusting you with something bigger than you can imagine. Every storm you survive is evidence that your foundation is strong. Every unanswered prayer is a seed in the soil of divine timing. When you are in this testing season, the temptation will be to doubt His promise, to question His plan, to compare your journey with others. But God's timing is not delayed, it's deliberate. He's teaching you to trust Him when the path is dark, to rely on His word when evidence is nowhere to be found. It's easy to have faith when everything makes sense, but real faith is built when nothing does. Sometimes God will close every door just to prove that He alone can open the right one. He will strip away your resources so that when provision comes, you know it was His hand and not human help. You might feel like you're being broken, but God is actually building your spiritual muscle. Every test is training for your testimony. Every delay is divine design. So when life feels like it's falling apart, remember, heaven is constructing your breakthrough behind the scenes. Keep walking by faith, not by sight, because the pressure you're feeling is the sign that promotion is near. God's favor is never given to the faint-hearted. It's revealed to the faithful. And then, when that testing season completes its purpose, something powerful happens. God begins to display His favor in a way that even your enemies can't deny. When God decides to elevate you, no weapon, no word, and no witchcraft can stop it. He will prepare a table before you in the presence of those who doubted you. Those who laughed at your struggle will watch you rise. Those who betrayed you will see the glory of God resting on your life and won't be able to touch it. Divine favor doesn't just lift you, it vindicates you. It turns every rejection into redirection, every setback into setup. You will stand in blessings that don't make sense, and people will wonder how you did it. They won't know that while they were gossiping, you were praying. While they were plotting, you were growing. While they were counting you out, God was writing you in. When God shocks you with his favor, he doesn't do it quietly. He makes sure the ones who tried to bury you have a front row seat to your resurrection. He'll elevate you so high that even those who cursed you will have to confess, "Surely the Lord is with them." That's what divine favor does. It silences opposition without you saying a word. You won't have to prove yourself, defend yourself, or explain yourself. God's results will speak louder than your words ever could. Stay humble, stay grateful, and stay focused, because the same God who hid you in the dark is about to reveal you in the light. What's coming next isn't a small blessing. It's a public miracle designed to glorify his name. Get ready, because the same people who once overlooked you are about to witness what happens when heaven endorses your name.